What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response. Now, I've got a clip for you guys today. I've got a pretty good news article coming from Politico. Yeah, we love Politico around here. These people lie like they ain't got no other business. Like, they just lie constantly. And they love to put out the Democratic talking points consistently, concisively, even though a lot of it's just outright garbage. Like, their talking points don't make any sense half the freaking time. It's like, what are y'all even doing here? But let's get into this story right quick. Check this out, y'all. Liz Cheney, somebody's favorite politician out there in the comments section. We did not have a peaceful transfer of power in 2021. Now, I would really love to know, what the hell is she talking about? Because, as I remember it, there was no riot on January 20th, 2021. There was no fighting with cops. Donald Trump left the White House. Joe Biden moved into the White House. So I'm kind of wondering what in the hell she's talking about here. Is she talking about January 6th, which actually has nothing to do with the transfer of power? That's just the electoral vote certification, right? And once again, Donald Trump didn't start no riot, for anybody out there that might think that he did. They started rioting before he was even done speaking. So, yeah, you can't blame that on him. He also told those people to be peaceful. Imagine this. You're talking to a group of people, and you say, all right, let's go over here and let's be peaceful, but we got to protest. And they just take off running before you're even done talking, and they go start fighting with cops. Are you responsible for that? I mean, come on, genuine question down in the comments section. Let me know down in the comments section. Speaking of down in the comments section, I need you guys to do me a big, huge favor, and then we're going to run that clip. Smash that like button for me if you don't mind. It really, really helps. You know, YouTube tries to keep me into a box, as you can tell with the subscriber count. Trying to keep me in a box. They're trying to keep this information that I put out there from getting to you guys. So, do me a favor. Smash that like button because it's going to help with the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. It's a really, really huge help. You just don't realize how much of a help hitting that like button and smashing subscribe is. Another huge helper is leave a comment. Engage with the video. Let me know, hey, do I just look stupid today? Is this orange shirt ridiculous looking? Do I speak funny? You know, just let me know down in the comments any way I can actually improve, in all seriousness, because I'm trying to improve this channel. I'm trying to get better and better and better and better. So y'all let me know any ways I can improve. Smash the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications if you want to stay up to date. But let's go ahead and get into this. Whenever the hell Liz Cheney's talking about, let's run the clip right quick because she goes off on some craziness, y'all. Check this out.
Possibility of a peaceful transfer of power? Are you optimistic that there will be?
Yeah, look, I think that Donald Trump is not currently in the White House, so he does not have the ability to exercise the control he did in 2020 and 2021. I hear repeatedly from people like Mike Johnson, like J.D. Vance, this claim that somehow we had a peaceful transfer of power. Donald Trump sat and watched for over 3 hours while our Capitol was brutally attacked by a mob that he sent there, while police officers were brutally beaten, and Donald Trump refused to tell them to go home for over 3 hours. So anybody who is interested in the truth ought to go look at those videos. We did not have a peaceful transfer of power in 2021.
Just this week, Senator J.D. Vance was asked 5 different times if Donald Trump lost the election. He refused to say yes. Polls show that millions of Republicans share that same view. How do you really reach those voters, those Republicans?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Kristen, when people write the history of this period, the Republican elected officials who know it's false, who continue to spread the lie, will be among those who are shown to just be really complicit in this attempt to unravel the republic. And so they are spreading this lie. They know it isn't true. If we are going to be a nation of laws, we abide by the rulings of the courts. And Donald Trump had the opportunity. 61 out of 62 courts ruled against him. And he was told repeatedly throughout this period that what he was saying was false. So the fact that now you've got the Republican Party, the leaders of the party who are in the grips of it seems to me just to be cowardice that they are afraid of Donald Trump, but that they are willing to perpetuate his lies at the expense of their duty to the Constitution tells you something about the real damage that's been done to the Republican Party.
Yeah, so all these people, they're just going to destroy their career just to placate to Donald Trump, who's not even in office, who's not even elected right now. These people make no sense. But you notice she dodges that question right there. She's asked, how do you reach Republican voters? Well, I can tell you one thing. I can answer that for you. Liz Cheney, you're not going to reach Republican voters by campaigning for Kamala Harris. That's utter ridiculousness, right? Like, yeah, give it to the establishment to stick with the establishment. Well, let's cross party lines. We'll be bipartisan here. Yeah, it's just the establishment. It's the uniparty. Who cares? All right? Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris. What? Like, the left hated, like he was the previous Hitler before Trump. Like, they started the Iraq war for no apparent reason, except their own personal whatever the hell. I don't get these people. What do you mean trying to reach Republican voters? You don't do that by campaigning for the other side. That's for sure, but you love those. Oh, they're just being cowards. Yeah, they're cowards, right? Going in on Trump's court cases. Now, that was a lie, as a matter of fact, because we know for a fact that a lot of those court cases were turned down upon standing, which, in case you don't know, check this out, y'all. I went ahead just to verify all this. I went ahead and pulled a quick Google search, by the way. A court case is turned down on standing when the court rules that the plaintiff lacks standing to bring the suit. This means that the plaintiff has not demonstrated that they are or will be harmed by the law or action being challenged. So that means pretty much they don't have the right to bring this lawsuit. Now, let's get into this about these claims. Check this out. Former President Donald Trump claims millions of illegal votes cost him the 2020 election. Yes, we all know this is old news. However, all but 3 of his 64 election challenges failed. Trump's lawsuits included claims of voter fraud, illegal polling procedures, and errors with ballots and voting machines that would invalidate the 2020 election results. He pulled out of 14 cases. 47 were dismissed by federal judges, including Democratic and Republican appointees. Of those, at least 8 were appointed by Trump. Now, those 47, that was the ones they were turned down upon standing. So, 47 out of 64. Now, he pulled some of those, like he just dropped the cases outright. 18 of those lawsuits were filed in Pennsylvania, and most focused on mail-in and absentee voting, extended pre-election deadlines, or technically deficit ballots. Now, they said, we looked at all the evidence, and there was no evidence of voter fraud. Well, guess what, y'all? Like, we've gone over this several times. The shadow campaign. A lot of those cases that Trump brought, right, that he thought was fraud just months previous to this, right? This is just outright insanity. They're trying to twist the narrative around. They're trying to twist the facts around to suit their own needs for whatever that may be. I don't know, just to get rid of Donald Trump. And why is that? Why are they going after him so hard with the DOJ and the special counsels and all this garbage, right? They want to get rid of this man because he's anti-establishment. Of course, the establishment is going to have an antibody type of response to Donald Trump when you have somebody come into the establishment that's not part of that establishment. The Uniparty is going to do everything it can to protect itself, to keep itself in power. But let's get into the rest of this story, because this story is very interesting, y'all. Check this out. Cheney, a lifelong conservative and the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, has been a vocal opponent of Trump since he tried to overturn the 2020 election. Right? You love how they say that. I can't stand that. Right? When you challenge an election, that's trying to overturn it. Of course that's what they're doing. Like, he saw some fraud that, it turned out that wasn't fraud. Why? Because Democrats changed the rules and made fraud legal. That's what happened. She endorsed Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris in September and has been campaigning for Harris in recent weeks. The notion that the 2021 transfer of power was peaceful has been a popular talking point since Ohio. Yeah, we already went over this, blah, blah, blah. You get it. It's really rich for Democratic leaders. Yeah, that was in the clip. All right, let's get into the rest of this. Cheney explicitly said that she does not believe Johnson will fulfill his constitutional obligation to certify the election if Trump does not win. She referenced an amicus Supreme Court brief that Johnson signed in 2020, alleging 4 states had defied the Constitution by violating their own election rules, despite conversations between Johnson and Cheney where he implied that he knew Trump's claims were false. Yes. Now, what he's saying right there, the word salad gobbledygook, they had to twist all that around, and notice they started talking about something totally different. The 4 states defied their own constitutions by changing the laws without the approval of the state legislature. So that means those laws should have been invalid. That means that all those cases that were turned down upon standing for Donald Trump shouldn't have been, but the judges looked at it and said, well, that's what the law says. You don't have the right to bring these cases. There you go. Okay, so he's trying to bring evidence of fraud, right? He's trying to bring you evidence of, hey, look, this is what they did. The election officials changed the rules without okaying it with the legislature, for crying out loud, going against, violating the Constitution or whatever. And they just say, we can't touch it. We can't do nothing about that. How unfair is that? That seems kind of unfair to me. And it seems kind of bogus, garbage, BS, if you ask me. These people will do anything and everything they can to change the rules, to change the laws, to keep themselves in power. This is outright insanity. How they try to manipulate you to try to make you think Orange Man bad. It's craziness, y'all. He has a record repeatedly of doing things that he knows to be wrong. He knows to be unconstitutional in order to placate to Donald Trump, Cheney said. Oh, she added that leaders of the Republican Party are afraid of Trump and in the grips of cowardice. That they are willing to perpetuate his lies at the expense of their duty to the Constitution tells you something about the real damage that's been done to the Republican Party, she said. Cheney herself was ousted from Republican Party leadership for serving as vice chair of the bipartisan House Select Subcommittee that investigated the January 6th insurrection. She warned that if Trump is elected, he will only appoint those who enabled him to claim election fraud and try to overturn the 2020 election. This is all very funny. Yeah, you know why she was unseated? She did sit on that election, but come to find out that that committee outright didn't have subpoena power, but they subpoenaed a whole bunch of records anyway. Come to find out, they withheld a bunch of exculpatory evidence just to, suit their narrative or whatever. Once again, she is a Democrat outright. And I'm saying that because we know Democrats' dirty games. You can always tell what Democrats are doing by what they're saying the other side is doing. This is all very apparent later down the road, right? We don't see it at the time because the facts haven't come out. But, all that evidence they withheld from the January 6th committee, when it did come out, showing that there was people that was just being peaceful, that not all 1,400 of those people were violent insurrectionists, right? Showing that they started rioting at the Capitol before Donald Trump was even done speaking. So, all this evidence, there's a bunch of other stuff, too, a bunch of little things. But, all this evidence, they withheld that on purpose. Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they want the truth out there? Because it doesn't suit their narrative, right? They keep going in on Donald Trump saying he sat around and did nothing. That's what Liz Cheney said. He sat for 3 hours and did nothing. Let me ask you, I would love to interview Liz Cheney because I would ask her this right quick, right off the top. What do you expect Donald Trump to actually do? He put out a tweet. It wasn't 3 hours later, right? Wasn't 3 hours later. What do you expect the guy to do, though? get this. Like, let's take all this in right fast. Okay, so before January 6th, I think on the 4th, if I'm getting that correctly, Donald Trump offered National Guard to Nancy Pelosi, saying there's going to be a huge rally, a big protest. Let's get National Guard in here. And she said no. Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., said no. They turned it down. Right? He's telling them, look, things could get out of hand. Get the National Guard, blah, blah, blah. You get it. Because the one thing, Antifa always shows up to these things, so yeah, it could get out of hand. He wasn't predicting there would be a freaking riot, for crying out loud. Like, because it makes no sense for Donald Trump to order a bunch of people to storm the Capitol for some reason. Like seriously, any of you guys that believe in the January 6th narrative, let me know down in the comments. Like, why do you believe that? For one thing, why do you think Donald Trump told these people to storm the Capitol? What do you think was the outcome going to be? Like, seriously, do you really think that they're not going to certify the election and keep Donald Trump in the White House? Like, seriously, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that Donald Trump thought that if they stormed the Capitol and stopped the certification of the electors, that he would remain in power? Do you really think that? Because I have several bridges to sell you that just so happen to be in Arizona, and if you want them, I'll give them at a good price, and I got a bunch of maintenance equipment to go along with that, because that is ridiculous if you buy into that. Just use a little bit of critical thinking here. He didn't want this because, yeah, if these people storm the Capitol, it's going to make him look bad. And guess what, folks? It did look bad. It looked very bad. As a matter of fact, I was on that side. I'm like, why would he do this? Why? Just, it blew my mind. Like, this was a terrible day. And I thought Trump was responsible for it until I started digging into the evidence and I started seeing all the evidence slowly come out, right? Because that's what it always is. We always get a slow drip of evidence. And over time, my opinion evolved, especially when they started going after Trump on all these BS, bogus DOJ charges. These prosecutions were just crap. But like all the evidence, you look at it, it makes no sense for Donald Trump to order a bunch of bumbling dotards, right? Like there's still people that genuinely think that that was a coup attempt. When in history of anywhere in the world has there ever been a coup attempt with an unarmed group of idiots? Like, seriously. Like, against the most powerful nation in the world, the most powerful nation this planet has ever seen. You're going to have about 200 people, because that's about the number. It was a little bit less than 200 people were fighting with cops and breaking down the barricades and trying to get into the Capitol. 200 people to overthrow the most powerful nation this planet has ever seen. Yeah, freaking right. Yeah, freaking right. Let's keep going, though, because it got me hyped up, y'all. He will appoint people like former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn, Cheney said. 36 hours ago, Mike Flynn was at an event where he was asked whether or not president's opponents should be executed, and he basically said, listen, yes, I'm going to unleash the gates of hell. These are the kinds of people that Donald Trump will be putting in place. Look, okay, so I like to fact check these people a lot. And I'm going to go out there and say, I'm going to use the corporate press narrative here and say that that's a baseless claim. I searched for that quote, couldn't find it anywhere. And yeah, it's going to be on the internet if it's anywhere. It's going to be on X, it's going to be on YouTube, it's going to be on Wikipedia, something, right? It was 36 hours ago. You really think it takes that long to get clips of that nature where a guy is talking about political opponents should be executed? No, I'm sorry. That's garbage. It's trash. These people are deranged. They're getting desperate because Kamala Harris is losing, folks. They're getting very desperate, and it's getting very nutty and very entertaining to watch these people flounder around because they're losing. They're losing the narrative because they don't have facts on their side. Sure, could January 6th have been better? Like, I really wish those people wouldn't have stormed the Capitol. Yes, I will say that. Those people that were fighting with cops, tearing down the barricades and doing all that garbage on January 6th, they deserve jail time. and they got jail time. But the other 700 and something people that were indicted and imprisoned, they didn't deserve for peacefully protesting at the Capitol. Yes, as a matter of fact, we have political prisoners in this country currently still sitting in jail, folks. That is right. Currently still sitting in jail. They have arrested over 1,400 people. There's been over 800 convictions. So what does that tell you? What is that? 600 folks are still awaiting trial. That's insane. Outright insane. Because we know, once again, from video evidence, about 200 people were fighting with cops out of 1,400. Yeah, folks, that is nuts. These people, they're very, very dirty. They're playing underhanded games here. They're doing anything and everything they can to make Donald Trump look bad. So we've got to stand up and push back against this crap. Videos like this, share this video with anybody and everybody. Tell your friends, tell your neighbor, tell your parents, tell everybody. Look, this narrative that Donald Trump is an evil orange man is just garbage. The facts don't support your feelings. I'll put it that way. Yeah, your emotions, you don't like Trump, whatever. But look, he's advocating for secure our southern border. Fix the wrecked economy that has currently damaged everybody's livelihoods. And stop, try to stop all these foreign wars. Where's the problem there? Where's the problem? Sure, he might say some mean stuff on Twitter or on Truth Social. He might say some stuff you don't like. But if he's going to secure the border, if he's going to bring all the war to a halt, for crying out loud, and in the process make our economy boom again like he did before. Look, hey, once again, I say this all the time. If Donald Trump comes in and he starts turning down transparency like the Biden administration has done, and he starts drone striking people into oblivion, and he starts doing a bunch of crap, I'm going to be right here railing against Trump. I can assure you guys of that. That is a promise. When Trump does bad stuff that I don't like, I'm not going to hold my tongue to placate, right? Because I have no skin in the game when it comes to politics. My skin in the game is on YouTube and at my job. But look, I can see the writing on the wall. Once again, if you're new to this channel and you don't know, I was once just like you, uninformed, bought into the corporate press narrative, and I bought into all that crap. But once I started reading the news, folks, you can see it. They manipulate the crap out of you. These people on the mainstream news, they lie to you constantly. They twist the facts around to make you start thinking this. Start thinking in this direction, I'll put it that way, when you really should be going in this direction, right? Like, if they were to be honest about Donald Trump, they say January 6th was a terrible day, but it's nuanced. We had a couple hundred people fighting with cops, which started rioting before Donald Trump even left. They would tell you the freaking truth, that was a very bad day, but Donald Trump isn't the fault of that. Completely, right? Like, he can take some of the blame for putting together that rally or whatever, but we do have a long-standing tradition in this country of peacefully protesting, and the vast majority of those people were peacefully protesting, right? Like, once again, the corporate press narrative, they don't talk about May 29th, when Antifa and BLM rioters firebombed St. John's Church, firebombed the White House grounds, for crying out loud, were trying to tear down the fence that was around the White House, right? Like, they don't ever talk about that insurrection, because that was most definitely an insurrection, just like January 6th was. Cops were fought with, cops were injured, a couple of cops were hospitalized, for crying out loud. It was just as bad as January 6th. But they don't ever talk about it. Go look it up. May 29th, 2020. Yeah. the May 29th insurrection. They don't ever talk about the summer of love, for crying out loud, that followed May 29th. All the rioting all over the damn country. They're constantly calling Trump a fascist. Would a fascist allow the opposition party, some of their activists, to burn cities to the freaking ground and just let them do that? No, he had every right. And as a matter of fact, that is a genuine criticism for Donald Trump. He should have invoked the Insurrection Act and got the National Guard to quell those riots, for crying out loud. But guess what? He didn't. Because he didn't want to be viewed upon as a fascist. He didn't want to be an authoritarian, right? Because he knew what the corporate press would do. They would come in, oh, Donald Trump's Hitler again, y'all. Killing peaceful protesters, arresting peaceful protesters, throwing peaceful protesters in jail. That's what they would have done, and he knew that. And that's terrible. That's outright bad. He wanted to get reelected. He should have invoked the Insurrection Act and called in the National Guard, but he didn't. He didn't do that, folks. That's genuine criticism. Genuine criticism. But I think I've got my point quite clear, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section, because these people just blow my freaking mind constantly. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.